Panthers, Week 3 preseason tonight versus the Lions. Pre-game at 7 right here on the Fan. Kickoff about 8 o'clock. A couple minutes after probably. You know how they do that. But it'll be right here on the Fan regardless. There's one priority. One. And it's the same priority that we use as like a foregone conclusion for every preseason game, but it's so much more important for this one that I'm not just going to use it as a qualifier. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. No more injuries. Be careful tonight. Normally, when we're talking about like priorities, what you want to see from a preseason game, the thing you just kind of go, all right, obviously stay healthy. You want everybody to, walk off the field under their own power. But really, what I'm looking for is tonight, the Panthers. I'm not at least for this segment, I'm not going to go into. But really, what I'm looking for is because the injuries have already bitten a team that can't afford to be bitten by the injury bug. Mm-hmm. Everything in this preseason is about staying healthy, but the Panthers really need to make sure they're not tempted to one more series, right? If you're on the fence, take them out. If somebody feels a bruise, if they stand up a little limpy, you get to the sideline, get them checked out. If they take a big hit, get them to the sideline, get them checked out. If the trainer says, yeah, it's contusion, right? Fancy word for bruise, they're done. Take their helmet. It has to be that way.
Hangnail, get out of here.
Absolutely. You got a headache? Drink some water. We'll see you inside.
Yeah.
Might just be dehydration, but I don't care.
Exactly.
The offensive line, I hope that Austin Corbett being out isn't the reason for everything. Like, he's not the one making all the calls or he's not the brains of the operation up there, and him being out is part of the reason why the offensive line is struggling so much. But you can't argue that Corbett being out and even Zavala early in camp being out for a little bit hasn't in some way contributed to the struggles they've had up front on the offensive line. That's an injury. The wide receivers. Do I need to explain how ravaged they are by injuries? Terrace Marshall, week to week, because of a back injury. DJ Chark out with a hamstring injury. Laviska Shenault dealing with concussion protocol. Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo suddenly are 100% indispensable. Right? They are wildly important, valuable. So do not put them in harm's way a second beyond what you feel is necessary. Miles Sanders hasn't played all preseason at all because of a groin injury. The running game has suffered. You can't let the guys behind him get dinged up until you know that he's going to be a workhorse that you can depend on all season. So be careful. Cam Peoples, by the way, App State fans, should get a whole bunch of carries today.
As he should.
Which is an opportunity for him to prove himself, but it's also an opportunity to get the guys that you probably think you're going to depend on more off the darn field.
Well, if you know Miles Sanders is nicked up, the last thing I want to do is actually get Chuba Hubbard nicked up too.
Or, Blackshear. Like running backs, you want the depth. So, heck, maybe you'll learn something about Cam Peoples, but if not, at least you're keeping your team protected. This is a stay healthy game. And I understand the value of reps. That's why this is such a important deal, right? If you have a healthy team, right? If your wide receivers aren't already missing 3 of their top 5 wide receivers due to injury, if your offensive line is mostly healthy and playing well, then yeah, I would say get a couple extra reps for guys like Bryce Young. Get a couple extra reps for guys like Jonathan Mingo. But going into week 1, you need the guys that are healthy right now to continue to be healthy. You might even need some of the guys that aren't healthy right now to get healthy by week 1 of the regular season. So it's like the throwaway, yeah, of course we want everyone to stay healthy, but really let's have this other conversation, becomes no longer the throwaway, becomes the headliner. And Frank Reich has to realize that, and the coordinators have to realize that, and Scott Fitterer has to realize, like everybody who might have a say in the plays that are called, in how long guys are on the field, how many drives. Do you know what else happens in week 3? And I don't know. I haven't looked into what Dan Campbell has said about playing his starters. And if there's anybody that is more unpredictable in how they're going to see the game of football, it might be Dan Campbell. But the other thing that happens in the final preseason game, there are guys that know. Like if 56 make the active roster or whatever it is, that they're number 68, right? They know that they are not even on the bubble right now, and they need to do something special to make the team, right? They making 4 tackles isn't going to get it done. You need to make 4 sacks, right? Getting an interception might not get it done. It needs to be a pick 6. That's the only way they're going to even move up their name on the list at all. So guess what? I don't want to be on the field with the desperate will do anything to move up on the roster depth chart of the other team. Like, I don't want Bryce Young, Mingo, Thielen, these guys that are now wildly important anywhere near the 68th man on Detroit's roster. Because the 68th man on Detroit's roster knows, you know what, pulling up and not getting flagged for a late hit doesn't do me any good. But getting a sack, even if it's close to the whistle, does get me something, right? I don't want those guys anywhere near my valuable players. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for health. I'm looking for safety. I'm looking for the guys that are healthy still being healthy tomorrow when we wake up. Right? When I'm because here, I mean, listen, tomorrow we're going to be watching college football. It's week 0. 2:30, Notre Dame, Navy in Ireland. We're going to be watching that. I want to be watching those college football games without any worries of guys that got hurt and were waiting on MRIs from the Panthers. I don't want to be waiting on results. I don't want vague things from Frank Reich about like, oh, it's day to day. We're going to see how it goes. No, I want to watch Notre Dame, Navy at 2:30 with not a care in the world. That's what I'm looking for.